Hello and welcome to the Book Bunch. My name is Sam. It is so great to have you guys back on the channel. Now, yes, this is another book haul. Yes, it's a rather large book haul. Yes, I did just do one on the channel like 2 weeks ago, but I trust you guys. This is a safe place, okay, for book addicts. And in my defense, it was my birthday on the 3rd of September, so I got books. That's what I'm gonna narrow it down to, is blame it on the birthday. So yes, we're gonna get into that. I also, before we do the book haul portion of the video, want to do one of the book tags that I recently saw from Paperbacks and Ponytails, which is called the Currently Reading tag, because I thought it was just so cool and had such good questions. And even before we get to that, I want to do a quick shout out to one of my friend's businesses. This isn't sponsored or anything, but I thought you guys might want to know, because I know a lot of my audience is Christian, especially Christian women. So I thought you'd like to know. But my friend has a company called Promised Land Co. They have an Instagram and a Facebook and an Etsy and a website as well. So I'll link it down below. But she sells and designs these beautiful shirts like the one I'm wearing. This one says, "If all creation sings your praises, so will I." And like, they're all Christian themed and they're absolutely beautiful. There's lots of florally ones and then some other cool ones. And she's got ones for Christmas and all sorts of things. So definitely go check her out if you like good quality, like, t-shirts and stuff that are ethically made and have a fun Christian design on it. So yes, we'll get to that. We're already like 2 minutes into this video and I'm still talking and we haven't even got to the point of the video yet. So let's get into it. I hope you guys enjoy this one. My trusty notebook here, which has all the questions from the Currently Reading tag that we are going to go through today. So the first question is, how many books do you usually read at once? I am a strict one book at a time person. I don't know why. I think it might just be that I need to focus on one story at a time. Because normally if I get sick of that book and I want to move on to another book, it's just an indication that I'm not enjoying the book and it should be a DNF anyway. So I read one at a time. It works for me. It works for my brain. Otherwise, I would probably get very mixed up in what storyline is from what book. So yeah, one book at a time for me. Do you ever switch bookmarks while partway through a book? I do, for a few reasons. It's not all the time though. Reason one is because I have lost my bookmark. Reason two is my daughter has stolen my bookmark and has most likely ripped it to pieces because she's like just over 1 and she just gets into everything and destroys everything. And reason three is if I've bought a new bookmark or been given a new bookmark that I just absolutely love and want to use it straight away instead of just waiting till I move on to the next book. But I normally stick to one bookmark at a time and try to keep it as the same bookmark. Question 3, where do you keep the book you are currently reading? I normally keep it just anywhere on a high surface that my daughter can't get to, because like I said, if she gets hold of a book, it's absolute destruction and mayhem. She tears pages and she takes out my bookmark and I lose my spot and it's just a bit of a disaster. So any high surface, but normally like there's a high coffee table in her lounge room that's like this high instead of like being down here, and she can't reach on top of that just yet. So I normally put it on there because it's generally a safe place and I'm normally reading in the lounge room. 4, what time of day do you spend the most time reading? It would normally be between 1 and 3 because that is when she has her nap. Although the older she's gotten, the more I've been able to kind of read just any time throughout the day because she doesn't always require my attention, which is good. So I'll try and fit in as much as I can. And then at night, I also do another lot of reading. I read a lot during the day, which leads to question 5, which is how long do you typically read for in one go? Normally like 2 to 3 hours at a time. Sometimes it's like 6+ hours at a time, with like maybe like a few minutes here and there where like I'm helping the baby or something like that, because she's very independent and doesn't really like attention very much. 6, do you read hardcovers with the dust jacket on or off? I only own like maybe 6, maybe even less than that, hardcovers, because I don't like hardcovers very much. It's not my preference. I much prefer a paperback, especially if I can get the paperback cover to like be whatever the hardcover book cover is, because I normally like the hardcover books, the look of them better, like everybody. But if I can get that cover in a paperback, that's like the ideal. Otherwise, I'll still just get the paperback anyway, because I do not like reading out of hardcovers. I find them very uncomfortable. It ruins my reading experience, basically. So I stick to paperbacks, but if I absolutely have to read hardcover, honestly, I'm at the point in my life where dust jackets really annoy me. And so either I will take them off and they'll probably never be seen again, or I try and keep it on, but it ends up getting like a bit torn up and stuff like that around the bottom, which doesn't bother me hugely, but I know that for a lot of you guys that collect books, that would be horrific. So yeah, there's that. I just stay away from them if I can. Which position do you mainly use to read? Like a slouch. Classically, I think that's what it's asking. Like, how do you sit? Like, normally in the lounge room, because this is like a different room to, this is like where I film, whereas the lounge room is in a different room, and like it's got like recliners and stuff, and I'm normally got the recliner up, but I normally have my legs crossed, and like I'm really hunchy and it's really bad, and I've like got a really bad like hunch now because I just read too much and like I'm always looking down, but that's just how I'm comfortable, so I'll just have to deal with it. 8, do you take your current read everywhere? Yes, I do, but again, it's because I'm taking paperbacks. They're normally pretty easy to take with me, and again, this is a bad book ownership admission, but it's not the end of the world to me if they get ruined. I try to avoid that, but like if they get kind of crushed or scuffed or scratched or whatever, it doesn't bother me very much. I've kind of just resigned myself to the fact that that's my lifestyle and that's just gonna be how it is. But yes, I do take it with me. 9, how often do you update your progress on Goodreads? I don't use Goodreads like at all. I've never used it. I have maybe once or twice looked up reviews on Goodreads, but I just don't love it. Like if I want to see a review on a book, I just come on BookTube and I look up videos to see what other people have said, because I don't really like reading reviews very much. They normally miss out on a lot of what I want to know about it before I'm going to read, because they're normally pretty short reviews. So I'm not a Goodreads gal. Should I become a Goodreads gal? If you guys want me to, I will. Anyway, 10 is tag somebody that you think should do this one. I don't know who has and hasn't done this one in the past or not. I don't know if this is like one that's been circulating for a while or what, but I am going to throw it out to Mrs. Thomas at, I want to say her channel name is Book Talks with Mrs. Thomas. She is someone that I have recently started following and I love her channel, and yeah, I thought I'd give her a little shout out. I'll link her channel below as well so you guys can check it out too. The first package is from Brotherhood Books, which is a secondhand bookshop here in Australia. I believe they come from New South Wales, but I could be wrong about that. Maybe it's Victoria. I don't know my postcodes. very much, which probably makes me a bad Australian, but I don't really care. So yes, this is first package. Everything in this one is second hand, which I love because it means it's cheaper for me. And last time I got stuff from them, like even the ones that they listed as like fair in condition were like great condition. So I don't know what's up with that. Okay, the first one is The Three Body Problem, which is part of it's the first book in a series that I've already got, because I happen to have it right here actually. I've got this one. I did want it in the same thing, but it was so cheap that I was like, look, it doesn't really matter very much, but I love this version of it. This is the second book and this one's the first book. So I thought I'd buy it. It is a very famous science fiction. It is secular though. It is Chinese translated to English. And yeah, I have no idea if this will be good, if it will be a DNF like a lot of the science fiction I've been reading lately has been, because it's all been rather inappropriate and you don't get the heads up because they're all like classics or whatever and everyone recommends them, and then you read them and you get like 60 to 100 pages in and then all this stuff comes up and you're like, whoa, okay, let's put that down. But that is going to be in my next video, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, I also got Tomorrow When the War Began because I loved this movie and I'm really interested to see how the book is. Apparently it's a series too, which I didn't know. So if the first one is good and it's not inappropriate, I might even get the rest of the series. I've also picked up The Host, which is written by Stephanie Meyer. I think that's how you say her name. She wrote Twilight. I haven't read or watched any Twilight. That I was in the era where that was like popular. Like all the girls in my grades were reading it when I was at school, but I never got into any of that. But I've heard from other fellow Christian booktubers that this book is really good, and so I picked it up. It is science fiction, which is interesting because I didn't know she did a science fiction. So we'll see how it is. I also got The Bark of the Bog Owl, which this is a Christian fiction, guys, that they happened to have. This was on my TBR and I happened to see it, and it was like less than a third of the price if I had gotten it on Amazon. So I was very happy with this. It is unfortunately hardcover, but I believe this book only comes in hardcover. I could be wrong, but yes, I'm very interested to see if this one is any good because it is a series. So we'll see. I also picked up Wildwood. I think this book is absolutely stunning. There is a second one as well, which I might pick up, but we'll see how we go. This is a middle grade, I believe. I have heard, like, if this is the book I think it is, I've heard good things about it. But I also could be getting this book confused with something else. I'm trying to find you one of the illustrations because they're absolutely beautiful. Look at this illustration style. I love it. It's very like kind of Swedish minimalist vibes, but I think it's beautiful. Really hoping it's good. Let me know if you know if it's good. But it's a weird size. It's like really wide and short. But anyway, a collection of Michael Crichton books. He's the one that wrote Jurassic Park. Don't know if you know what that is or not. Yeah, I'm a real joker. So this has Rising Sun, The Andromeda Strain, and Binary. I believe these are all his sci-fi books, or at least some of them. The reason I picked this up is because it's got the Andromeda Strain in it. Again, unfortunately, it's a hardcover, but I'll live. I picked it up because I actually got his like second book in the series that he wrote years and years later, and I think you can read them both as standalone, but I happened to see this just after I'd purchased the first one, which is also in this haul. So yeah, I thought, why not? I'm already reading the second one. And we have just one book from Amazon, which is shocking to me because normally all of the books in a haul that I do are from Amazon because that's always where I managed to find them. But I got Oxygen because me and Celestria, shout out to Celestria, I'm going to link her channel below. She and I are going to do a buddy read next month for this one. This is a Christian science fiction book. I really hope that it's good. I really hope we both enjoy it. but I am really excited for it. I've never done a buddy read before, so keep an eye out for that as well. Then I've got a big box here from the Book Grocer. I love the Book Grocer because every time I buy books from a Book Grocer, they're always 10 bucks. Like every book is like $10, which is very cheap because I don't know if you guys know much, but here in Australia, it's very difficult to get cheap books that aren't secondhand. Like really difficult to find cheap books that aren't secondhand. So I always like the Book Grocer because they are first-hand books that are pretty much always 10 bucks or like 12 bucks normally. But yeah, I've got heaps of these bookmarks, which is great, and the cute little paper that says I love books. I love that. I love that. I love that. Because I do love books, you know. So, what have we got? We've got the Synapse Sequence, which is another science fiction. A lot of these in the haul will be science fiction because I've pretty much come to the end of my science fiction pile and I needed to restock it. So here we go. I cannot tell you a single thing about this. I don't know. Then I've got Emily Eternal, which this one sounds really interesting. I believe it's a robot story. Love me a robot story. If you can recommend robot stories, send them my way. I've got the second book in that series we were talking about before by Michael Crichton, The Andromeda Evolution. So I'm interested in this one. I've got From Darkest Skies, which is the first one in a series. I think there's like 4 or 5 in this series, something like that. I have heard about it, but I have no idea if it's clean or not. So we'll find out. I've got iRobot because it's a classic. We were forced to watch the movie many times in high school and do lots of reports on it. And because of that, I ended up hating it because it was just too much of rewatching this one thing. But it's been a number of years since that happened, and I'm willing to give it a go because this time I'm going to read the original in the form of the book. So we'll see. I also picked up Synapse because I want to say Chantel from Chantel Reads All Day recommended this one because it was on my Amazon list, and this one happened to be 10 bucks on Book Grocer's website, which was very cheap. So yes, I will link Chantel below so you can go check her out. I love her as well, and yeah, she recommended this. Also by Isaac Asimov, which is the guy that wrote iRobot, is Foundation. This one he is very famous for. This is a series. This is considered a absolute classic in the sci-fi realm. I am trying to go through all the sci-fi classics at the moment. So far, they have been disappointing purely because they are very much so not clean, which is, again, something I'll be talking about in my next video because it's all about sci-fi stuff. So we'll see if this one is actually all right or if it too is a deer. I've also picked up The Restaurant at the End of the World. This guy, I want to say, yeah, so this is part of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series, which I didn't realize was a whole series. I believe you can read it standalone, which is how I'm going to read it. It is the second book in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series. I haven't read the book, but I have obviously watched the movie. I believe everyone on the planet at this point has probably watched that. But anyway, thought I'd pick it up because it sounds interesting. And finally, I have gotten a beautiful look at this edition of The Secret Garden. The Secret Garden was one of my all-time favorite books when I was a girl. Absolutely loved it. My copy that I do have is battered beyond belief, and I still love it. And in honor of that, I'm still going to keep that copy, but in honor of that, I thought I'd get a really beautiful copy because I just couldn't. This was $8, guys. $8 for this. Look at this beauty. Oh, I just want to look at it forever and display it on my shelf forever. Another box, which this one is ridiculously huge for no reason because there's only like 6 books in here. But anyway, this is from Booktopia, which is a online bookshop that has like same day shipping, which is very cool, but it's normally really expensive, so I only get books from them if they're having a really good sale, and they happen to be having a really good sale and free shipping on their classics, so I stocked up on some classics. That box was the worst box that I've ever had to open in my life. Would not recommend those boxes to anyone. Normally they don't come in a box, so I've never had that problem with that company before, but yeah, terrible box design. Massive box for this. That's all that was in it. That's it. That's all. And I had that massive box. Anyway. So, first one. H.G. I can't even speak now. H.G. Wells' The Sea Raiders. This is the tiniest book I have ever seen. How many pages is this? Like 5? Oh, 58 pages this book is. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. It is so tiny. Look at this. I bought it because I think it was like $5 or something. And I absolutely love H.G. Wells. He is one of my favorite sci-fi writers. I have read like 80% or something of his books. And out of them, I think like 80% of the 80% I've read have been absolute winners. And then there's a few in there that I didn't really like. I have done a whole video based on all the books of his that I have read. So I thought I'd pick this up because, yeah, it was really cheap. I didn't realize how tiny it was. On the back, it says this is £2, which is wild to me. But I guess it's because it's so tiny. But this is a short story. It says, spellbinding short stories, man-eating squid, magicians, and monstrous machines. Sounds great to me. I think it sounds awesome. But yeah, if you know of any H.G. Wells books, send it my way because love me some H.G. Wells. I also got Dante's Inferno, which I've never read. I've heard that many people recommend this. I don't know how I will feel about it as a Christian. I don't know if it's recommended by Christians or not, but I know it's very popular in the secular community. But it is about hell, and it's also about, apparently, talks about God's justice and human behavior and Christianity. So I'll be interested to see how that goes. So let me know if you've read it and if you think it is all right for Christians or not. I also picked up From the Earth to the Moon and Around the Moon by Jules Verne. He's a very famous author that I've never read anything from. I really want to read 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I've seen a lot of the movies that his books have been made into, like Around the World in 80 Days and Journey to the Center of the Earth and all of that, but I haven't actually ever read any of his works. I really want to start reading some of his works, and I saw this one for really cheap. This is science fiction, and I'm on a huge science fiction kick, so we'll see how we go with that one. I also got The Scarlet Pimpernel, which I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen the movie of The Scarlet Pimpernel, but it is the funniest movie on the earth. I swear, it is the funniest movie I've ever seen in my life. And I love comedy. So I've seen a lot of comedy movies, but there is nothing compared to The Scarlet Pimpernel. It is absolutely hilarious, and I hope that the book is also as funny. I'll be very sad if it's not, because it's the whole reason that I bought it. But The Scarlet Pimpernel is basically about this guy. I think he's either British pretending to be French or French pretending to be British. I can't quite remember, but it's in the time of like revolutions and war and different things. And yeah, he's pretending to be someone that he's not, and he's got this whole persona, and it's just hilarious, and it's a heartfelt, happy story. But yeah, I'm going to give it a read. And I also picked up The Lost World and Other Stories by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. He wrote, I don't know if you know, but Sherlock Holmes. And it would be interesting to see how a mystery writer writes other things. So yes, I picked this up. It's meant to be like got Jurassic Park kind of vibes and all of that and science fiction. So I'm really interested. It also says that it's kind of down the same vein as some of the H.G. Wells stuff. So I'm interested. Last but not least for this haul, on the weekend to celebrate my birthday belatedly, because we didn't get to celebrate it on the actual day because we were out of town. So instead, on Saturday, we decided to give it a shot. So we went to this place called the Book Bucket, which there's one in Caloundra and then there's a few around like the north side of Brisbane if you happen to be a local like myself. For the rest of you, you'll have no idea what I'm talking about, and that's fine too. But it is a like secondhand bookshop type of situation where you can trade in your books, which I've never done before, and it was a really fun experience. And as a result, I ended up picking up a few books for myself while I was there because they were ridiculously good deals. So I got this one, which is called Zakora, which is a, I want to say middle grade, maybe YA book. And look at the cover. It is stunning. It is beautifully illustrated and it has dragons. So that was all I kind of needed to know. I picked it up. It is part of a series. It says it's book 1 of the Violet Tragedy. So if you've heard anything about it, let me know. I'm interested because I know absolutely nothing about it. I also picked up this, I want to say this is the second book, but maybe it's the third book in the Aragon series, because I happened to pick up the first one in this exact edition. So I picked up Aragon in this exact like cover edition style from my last haul that I did with Brotherhood Books. And because this was so cheap at this other secondhand bookshop, I figured it was worth me picking it up, even if I end up like not liking the first one. It was worth taking the risk because it's a super famous series with dragons. I'll probably like it. I believe it's clean, so we'll see how we go. But yeah, I picked it up because it was like less than $6 or something, and I knew I wouldn't see it for that price again, so I took the risk. And finally, I got The Dark Tower by Stephen King. Again, unfortunately, it is hardback, but that's all right. This book is monstrously huge, as most Stephen King books are. This is his science fiction, the first in his science fiction series, and I have been really intrigued to read it. I've never read a Stephen King, but I've got 2 of his books, both of which are sci-fi as well. Both have been turned into TV shows, which I have seen the TV show versions and I liked them, so I'm hoping I'll like the books as well and they'll be appropriate, but we'll see, because I know Stephen King can be inappropriate, so we'll see how we go with this one. But this book was originally $50, right? Well, actually, it says it was originally $65. They had it on special for $50. I got it for $8. I got it for $8, and I was like, come on, $8, let's go. And technically it was free because I had traded in a bunch of books to get these ones, and I still have heaps of credit owing. So yeah, that's it for the book haul, guys. That's it for this week's video. I am tossing up the idea of possibly starting to release 2 videos a week, so let me know if you would like that from me. And if you have enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I really would appreciate it. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great week. Bye!